Good morning. I'm Derek, and I thought I would just try to take everybody through a brief tour of where the fan game is at right now. I've taken a step up. So on the taking a step up a dimension higher, maybe than the void ships, everything that's gone on before. And now we're working on simulating the Imperium within the galaxy. And I'm very close to putting the void ships back in. They're almost out of the scope for mastering the black ships, but they're just a lot of fun. So, and I think that the view of the galaxy from the void ship is great. But just concentrating on the galaxy map, I will pause, and I think I'm gonna remove the audio listener and build a full version, and then I will upload that version up to the itch page. And last week I uploaded a version to the web browser, so it's just the web browser version that will run without having to download it, but it's not as smooth. And what do we see? Let's already as soon as the galaxy starts, we are in the 21st year of the 31st millennium, and we are seeing a day go by every second, and each day is being counted in shifts, because I that's what I think the first three digits of the imperial calendar. If we look, I can't point to it, but if we look at the bottom of the screen, we see 490, 500, 512, whatever. We see these numbers, and that would be like we're encroaching the 600th shift of the 21st year of the 31st millennium. And it's we're labeling it this is the age of the scouring. This is when the heresy is over, but there are still a lot of trader fleets, war bands throughout the galaxy, which we're not modeling at the moment. We just have some very basic things going on. We have a very ugly orc glyph that is slowly going through the galaxy. Let's zoom in. We can see that the tithe was ready on that world that the Orks just took over, and what is happening is we have a series of battle zones. This green blob that one of the Ork Was have left behind in their travels. And the large tithe being ready icon, which I wanted to kind of look like a seal or a script. Like here's what the High Lord, the master of the Astronomicon, has written on his notes. Like, okay, the tithe here is ready, and a lot of things are happening. The tithe is ready. But then when the tide is, a ship is going to come, and we're going to simulate and show that journey, because that's where a lot of the fun is going to happen, is while the tithe is being brought to Terra. Each world is unique and has 6 attributes. So it has a designation number between, there's 1 million worlds in the Imperium. So there's 6 digits. 0.00001 to 999,999, and it's not exactly random. The planet's designation, it's an idea that I took from the Traveler RPG, because every planet had it was a long number of letters and numbers, and that was the planet's designation, but it also told the players everything that they needed to know about that planet. And I'm only showing 2 of those variables right now, so I can understand how it works. So we're only seeing that each of these worlds has an infrastructure level. They also have how imperial they are, how livable that planet is, how long that planet has been in the Imperium, which can go from 1 to 300 years right now at start. And the Imperium is stagnant. So as you lose worlds, other worlds are being added to the Imperium, so it should be stagnant and in decline. The players should be able to do their best to minimize that decline. And there's one aspect as they're the master of the Astronomicon. But we see some planets are more livable than others, and I'm doing the math, and I'm getting a lot of planets in the tens of billions. And I'm not sure if that's too high, but let's see, how close is this sector from Terra? It's very close to Terra. So, as a rule, not 100%, but the distance to Terra is a variable that affects everything about these worlds. Of course, most of these worlds, they're not fresh colonies, they're lost worlds that have been reclaimed into the Imperium. But let's see if we go out. I'm calling this the player's focus. And that's one of the reasons why it moves slow. The player's focus moves slow because if the High Lord of Terra is focusing on these 5 worlds, there's a lot that the High Lord of Terra is not focusing on. Because if we go back to our rules, our goals for the game is that we want to hurt the player, we want to overwhelm the player, which is with the overwhelmingness of the Imperium, and there's no reward for failure. Some others. When the tithe is ready is affected by the population. There's a variable. If we see on the upper left, we have two of the tarot cards of the Imperial Tarot that are guiding the gameplay, and we're gonna get advanced on that. I think we have 72 cards to make, and we've done 2, and the art's not great, and we're working on it. But with all these things, it'll be a nice complexity of systems that'll all be working together. But it'll also tell the player very much what's going to happen. So we just saw that the candle card has reversed. And right now it's just a random time between when they change. What I want to do is at the beginning of each age of the Imperium, I want to throw down the Emperor's, the Imperial Tarot, and that will guide what's going to happen during that age, plus well as the story elements. Like the Age of the Scouring, its story elements are that the galaxy is full of retreating trader fleets that are heading towards the Eye of Terror. And so our focus is expanded. We can see more of what's going on. These Ork Was, what happens is they double in size every time they conquer a planet. And that's all they're doing right now. And we're going to go in, not just double them in size, but right now we're creating a several battle zone areas, and these battle zone areas are going to get resolved, and then the world might be lost. Right now, and just for testing, anytime the Orks encounter a world, that world is out of gameplay for the moment. But right now, here I got a little shift to Terra, and this is just a very makeshift placeholder. This is where we will do the master of the Astronomicon decisions. And we're tracking a few variables. The visibility of the Astronomicon is continuously going down as the Emperor feeds. And right now, no ships are actually getting in. So there's no sustenance coming in. But what's going to happen is the tithe will be collected, brought to Luna, I think, for processing, and then a certain percentage is going to go to the Silent Tower. Psychers that meet certain requirements will go directly to the Emperor. Many will be sanctioned. Some will be sanctioned. And then all the other High Lords, we're going to start with the Master of the armies, and they're going to have requests. The army is going to say, "Hey, we need some psychers," and so some psychers will go to the other High Lords' departments, and we're tracking how many humans there are. And the number was so huge. I looked around, and 15 quadrillion seems to be the accepted number of the amount of humans in 40K. We're starting in 30K. And you get about an average about 13 people to a ton. And I thought, well, let's just make that 13 quadrillion in 30K. And then we'll track them in billions of tons, and that let me reduce the number to 1, with a bunch of zeros behind it. So we have 1,779 billion tons of human biomass. And using the biomass just because there's going to be the tyranids. Where are the tyranids right now? Oh, let's go back and start fresh and see if we can find the shadow in the warp. Okay, because that's fun for me. We're working on the interface, but I am thinking I would very much like everything to be keyboard commands. There we see the shadow just hiking it off, and usually as soon as one leaves the galaxy, it's again, there's another. So here we see the shadows in the warp, and they're off going to be where they want to be right now. Because the Imperium doesn't encounter them until later. But I really like the way that they looked in the galaxy map, with the void ships, and so I just thought, I'm just going to copy that over. And they're a work in progress, but they shouldn't be in the galaxy at this time. So just focusing on one of the Zenos factions, just the Orks, and how they are influencing the galaxy, how they are influencing individual worlds. And once that system's all been worked out, then then the other factions will be, easy because they'll have a template. Let's see. Turning off some of the effects, just so we can go in, and I'm enjoying how overwhelming. Let's turn everything back on. I'm enjoying how overwhelming the map can be, and most of these numbers, I think, I like the way that these numbers look, so I want to keep the designation. I'm going to go back to just having, the planet's designation. It's 6 numbers, because right now, every time we're telling it to display something, it's taking up frame rate and making everything slower. So we're going to optimize that. But right now, it's good for me to see, so I can see that the universe is generating correctly, and I hope it's fun for other people as well. We see a series of purple dots, and that is from the tyranids swooping through, and it's in a line just like this orc wall that is devastating several sectors. Is because these battle zones are being created at the center of the Wa, and I'm disappearing the planet or the world, and I need to not disappear the world, but create that battle zone, resolve the battle zone after we've created the army, because the army doesn't exist yet. But after we create the army, we can resolve that battle zone, and then the world, might still be within the Imperial fold. But for right now, it works well enough, because if there's a battle zone, that world is probably not contributing to the tithe, is the idea. The Astronomicon's visibility, it should be this is where the Emperor's light touches the galaxy. So we are modeling the Astronomicon like this in 3D, and there will be a bonus to mindfulness, peaceful of mind, or something, where the Emperor's light does touch. But we're going to get on that. Right now it's just based on its scale and its size, not like where it's colliding. But I'd like to get a little bit more, into that, so we can see that. The Astronomicon and what it's looking at, the Emperor's gaze, is controlled by the scripts on the Emperor's Tarot. So that is updating. And one of the things I want to do with the Tarot in the game is explore a lot of the unanswered, sometimes contradictory questions, like what are the Tyranids for? What do they want? What will happen to the Emperor? So each of these ideas could go one way or the other, and this is often, I'm going to try to explore that with, like, is the Emperor a deity, and maybe that's represented by the card, in one direction, or what? We're gonna explore and give the player a chance to learn these secrets in game without going one way or other in the canon, is the idea, which would be helpful if I can do everything I want, or get some help. I would love to do a game exploring the lives of the 11th or the 2nd Primarch, in this kind of setting, where you would get to design your everything and go out in a crusade with orbital bombardment, because that is one of the fundamental things that I really want. Is I want to see void ships orbiting a planet and dropping bombs on a full-scale, Europe in the early 20th century fronts. So massive 600, 700, 800 mile long fronts on alien planets. With with some simple AI on everything. So it's be a simple war game that with orbital bombardment, and we do have we have some simple void ship controls for all of that, and I've got some what looks to me very ugly graphics and YouTube videos testing out those systems in the past. They do seem very ugly to me now, and we see the Orks need some restraint, but of course when they encounter when we build an army, they will not get this to be that they shouldn't be that big anyway. And we are approaching the ugly stage of the game, where as we're adding in our features, things aren't pretty. Like that orc icon looked really nice a few years ago, but now I have to kind of decide. Well, I'm not sure. We're looking on it. I've been given some lovely art portfolios from people to use, and I'm still implementing a lot of that. But it's so important for me that at every process, every point in game design, just for me, it should either be incredibly fun or look really, really, really pretty. So nothing's fun yet, so we're concentrating on pretty. But we have finally an action for the player. The player can summon an Inquisition. Not an Inquisitor, but a player could go, I've just been watching the patterns, and nobody over here has ever sent the tithe, and let's go send the Inquisition to figure out why. And I am starting to create some agents that will be created to enact the player's commands. Like, there's some automatic ones the player doesn't have to worry about, like the tithe. The tithe is just ready. It does its thing. The player can focus on that. And I want to have the player's focus have a similar effect as the Emperor's gaze. It just helps everything in that area a little bit. So, if the player is focused on this world, and, I'm not really sure how to track that, but these worlds would get that High Lord's gaze, much like planets within the Emperor's light would get a bonus for the Emperor's gaze. Things like that. So we're at 1% of the Imperium. I think we have 120 sectors, and the sectors are based off of just distance to Terra at the moment. So everything should really be a multiple of 10. There should be 730 worlds, or 1,800, or 400, but all these, there should be 10 times as many worlds is my goal. And then we'll have 1% of the Imperium, which is 10,000 worlds, which I think will be, it'll feel nicely overwhelming, and it's doable. And it's a step. After 10,000 worlds, we can go in, but then They'll all be procedurally generated. All the information about them is already done. They'll eventually have a little bit of a history, just enough to make them unique. And right now they're all generic, but they're not. They're undesignated. They have all the info they need. Like here we have these two. One has an infrastructure of 7 and has about double the population. So that means that they have basically the same livability. But you can tell with some worlds that okay, this one, one might obviously be a feudal world because it has mid infrastructure or low infrastructure, high imperial, low population. Like here we have very high infrastructure, but a population of less than 1 billion. And these on the worlds, these are individuals, less than a billion individuals, not like on the galaxy-wide view where we have we're tracking billions of tons. So the numbers are a little bit different there, and that might be confusing. So I would appreciate mentioning anything that's confusing, so that I can try to work on that. And I'm hoping that it'll just be fun for the player to watch things like a whole sector either be devoured or be in control of the tyranids, and to, if the other High Lords are going to have really stupid AI, because they won't be as smart as a human. So the High Lord of the army is going to say, hey, he's going to ask for favors periodically, but also the player should be able to say, hey, can we get a crusade going here, because I just have my suspicions. But maybe that could all be handled by the Inquisition. And since the Orks have once again massively taken over the entire galaxy, and they're not supposed to get that big, but because he's so big, he has automatically consumed everything. Yep. And it has caused less than a 1% reduction in the overall population of the galaxy, which is the Candle Tarot, which is now going down. But that overall affects all of humanity, is represented in that one card. And that card's also tracking how psychic people are. It's a number that works out really good for gameplay that I'm using. No, I'm not going to say it. And it does change over time. And that change is being affected by both cards. Is how psychic people are, humanity is, evolving in 40K, even though it's been kept down a little, quite a bit. So that is something that the player will be able to explore, I hope, as playing as the master of the Astronomicon. And of course, proof of concept demo, the game I really want to make is more ambitious. Even though 10,000 years of history with 10,000 worlds is pretty ambitious as it stands right now, going from M31 to M42 is about 1,000 hours. So it'll take a little while. Thank you very much. Thanks for hanging in there, and I appreciate the encouragement and support. I appreciate any brutal critical critique. and pointing out anything that just looks stupid, dumb, or an artist sometimes can't see their own mistakes. But thank you very much, and until next time.